NATO's 75th anniversary summit slated for next week in Washington, D.C., and the way the alliance will look in 2025 is in many ways going to be dictated by the outcome of the presidential election in the U.S. Former President Trump has threatened to leave NATO a number of times. If he doesn't outright leave the alliance, some experts believe he may negotiate continued participation by radically downsizing America's security role and asking European countries to increase their spending. The Wall Street Journal is reporting that NATO is making contingency plans for a possible second Trump term. One of those plans is that the alliance will establish a post in Kyiv. It also plans on establishing a new military command center in Western Germany. The center will serve to coordinate military aid and training for Ukrainian forces. Joining me to talk about the upcoming meeting, Ambassador Julianne Smith, the U.S. permanent representative to NATO. Welcome to you, and thanks for being here. The election results, I know a lot hinges on what happens in November. What is the message from the U.S. government to NATO members during this meeting?
Well, we're very excited to host all the leaders of NATO members in Washington, D.C. next week. This is a wonderful opportunity to come together and celebrate everything that this alliance has been able to do for 75 years. It has provided peace and stability on both sides of the Atlantic so that our economies can thrive. We'll be noting that we now have 2/3 of the allies spending 2% of GDP on their own national defense. That's a huge development over the last 10 years. And we'll be standing together with President Zelensky to showcase continued support for their efforts to push Russia out of their territory.
Ambassador, what is your response and level of concern with President Trump's comments about Article 5, that an attack on one is an attack on all, and that he did not endorse that and has said so publicly a number of times?
Well, first of all, let me say that anyone who encourages Moscow to attack NATO allies, I mean, that kind of talk is irrational, it's dangerous, and it's irresponsible. And so we're very focused on ensuring that our allies understand that the United States will maintain its commitment to Article 5, which is the key line in the treaty that says an attack on one is an attack on all. You know, the only time that NATO allies actually turned to Article 5 was after September 11th, when we in the United States, when we were attacked. So Europeans came to our aid. We want to maintain commitment to this NATO alliance. We want to ensure that for another 75 years, American presidents of all political stripes continue to support this alliance. It's a good deal for the United States. It serves our interests, and it serves the interests of our friends in Europe.
And is that deal threatened, Ambassador, if Trump takes office again?
Well, it's hard to get into any hypotheticals. We don't know what's going to happen in the election this fall. I think Europeans are interested. They're watching our election closely, but they also know that candidates sometimes say things on the campaign trail that don't actually turn out to be reality when and if they actually assume office. So I think it's a little early at this point to prejudge. During the last Trump administration, we did not have a situation where President Trump took the United States out of the NATO alliance. And in fact, we have seen consistent growth where Europeans are doing their fair share. Under President Obama, President Trump, and President Biden, Europeans have stepped up to do more for their own defense. So let's keep that trend going. Let's maintain U.S. support for this important alliance that serves our interests and make sure that the U.S. can keep leading this very important military alliance.
You are right about the campaign trail and comments made in that process. I want to talk about France for a moment, Ambassador. On the cusp of electing the country's first far-right government, how would that impact NATO?
Well, again, it's hard to get into these theoretical discussions, but what I'll say is this alliance has been around for over 7 decades. And so you might imagine over 7 decades, this alliance has seen governments come and go of all political stripes. What has carried us through is that fundamentally, nations on both sides of the Atlantic have understood that investing in this alliance makes sense, irrespective of whether you're on the left or the right right or somewhere in between.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.